In today's video, we'll be talking about the Nazca Lines, and before we get into some theories, we want to give you some background information. It is found in the Nazca Desert between the towns of Nazca and Palpa in southern Peru, and it is believed to have been created by the Nazca culture between 500 BCE and 500 CE. Some of the most famous designs include a spider, a monkey, a hummingbird, a fish, and a human figure known as the Astronaut. They were created by removing the reddish top layer of pebbles to reveal the lighter soil beneath. The dry, windless, and stable climate of the Nazca Desert has helped preserve the lines. The exact purpose of the Nazca Lines remains a mystery, and theories suggest they could have been used for astronomical or calendrical purposes. Today, we'll go into some of these theories and others in much deeper analysis. The lines are best viewed from the air due to their large scale, though some can be seen from surrounding foothills. The site was also designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, recognizing its cultural and historical importance. We want to talk about how was this place possible and how it came about, and how we will get into some theories on who created the lines, of course. Let's get straight into it, shall we? We have told you a little bit about the Nazca Lines and some theories, which we will get into soon. But we want to talk about how did this place even came about and what are the facts that can back up the signs that many people talk about. As we said at the start of the video, they were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE, which is a pretty long time ago and could have been made as long as 2,524 years ago. So of course, there is not much we can go off regarding how everything was created other than it was by the Nazca people all those years ago. However, it is said by historians that the lines were formed by removing the dark stones to create trenches, which are about 4 to 6 inches deep. This then results in the lighter soil being exposed, which contrasts with the surrounding darker surface. Some of the lines are quite large, with the longest lines stretching several kilometers. Stakes and ropes might have been used to mark out straight lines and complex figures. It is clear that these lines were created by the people of Nazca many years ago, but what is the most puzzling thing is what exactly the purpose was for them to do this. There have been people from all over the world in different fields of work, and there has been no end result and reason for why the Nazca Lines came about. However, we will be going into some of the theories regarding why they were built. But you know, every single time when something kinda comes out of nowhere in history without there being any real reason for it, aliens will always come up in the conversation. The idea that the Nazca Lines were created by or with the help of extraterrestrials is a popular but highly speculative theory that has been widely debunked by scholars. This notion gained prominence largely due to the works of authors like Erich von Däniken, who proposed that ancient civilizations, including the Nazca, were influenced or directly aided by alien visitors. His book Chariots of the Gods suggested that the lines could be landing strips for spacecraft or signals for alien beings. However, there is no credible evidence to support the alien theory, and other theories are better to help us understand the reason and origin of the Nazca Lines. A theory which provides much more validity and one that could very well be true is the archaeological evidence that has been found. Through a heavy amount of research, archaeologists have found that the people of Nazca would have not only had the tools to build them, but also the knowledge. How is this possible for them to find this information from people who lived thousands of years ago? Well, by looking at pottery and other day-to-day tools that people in those ages used, would have been able to build the Nazca Lines without any other interference, such as aliens, for example. Furthermore, to link to the previous theory point that the Nazca people built it, it is also thought that it would be pretty easy for them to create these lines with all of the tools they had back then. They would have used wooden stakes to outline all of the shapes and then used ropes to kind of measure and make sure that the lines were straight. These are methods that anyone could use back then and give us no real reason for us to think that any aliens had a part to play or advanced technology, as the people could have very easily done it all themselves. This theory displays how it was just the Nazca people who made them, but the reason is still one that is very unknown to us. But what it looks like, it was the people of Nazca who made the lines by themselves using simple tools. Another theory which kind of helps us understand why the lines were possibly made is one of religion and culture, with the designs of the Nazca Lines being consistent with the religious and cultural practices of the Nazca civilization. Many of the figures represent animals, plants, and deities that were important in Nazca culture. The lines may have served ceremonial or astronomical purposes, aligning with local spiritual and societal needs. Overall, the thought of aliens being involved is all just a conspiracy and has no real evidential backing, whereas one of the cultural reasons shows why the lines were created, and looking at archaeologists' knowledge, the Nazca people made them. Now that we have looked at some more logical reasons for how and why the Nazca Lines, let's look at some even more interesting stuff. And with that being the mystery of what could and maybe is underground. Now, we want to start off with the obvious stuff and what we are told and thought to believe. That is, underneath the Nazca Lines, there is simply just rock, sediments, and all of the normal stuff you would see underneath land or rock. However, some much more interesting theories explore what may actually be under the lines. But we will never be able to truly find out because historians will not want the site to be damaged. One theory is that underneath will give us a much better picture of what life all those 2,000 plus years ago looked like, with the pottery and tools that could have been used to create the place. It would be good for people to be able to dig up the lines to see if this theory is true, and if it is, we will get the answer to what exactly they used and have physical evidence, which is much better than speculating. Another theory to explain what is underground the lines is that of it being a burial site for people or ceremonial offerings beneath certain geoglyphs. These could be related to the religious or cultural practices of the Nazca, as we talked about earlier on in today's video. Hence, why are people buried underneath the lines as part of these religious practices done back then? Another theory to understand what really happens underneath the Nazca Lines is one which is much more speculative, and that is there are hidden structures beneath. The theory is that there could be hidden chambers and other things beneath, and the lines are just there as a kind of cover-up to hide these things from the outside world. While this theory lacks scientific evidence, it still very well could be true, as until this very day, we do not truly know what is underneath. Another much more speculative theory is once again to do with aliens, where, similar to the previous theory, the lines were a cover-up from the evidence that aliens helped the people of Nazca to build the lines. It has to be said that there is no evidence and only speculation, so we can only guess on this theory. A further theory to try and explain what is underneath the Nazca Lines, and some researchers have proposed that the lines might be located along natural geophysical or magnetic anomalies, which could have been significant to the Nazca people. This theory suggests that the lines were placed intentionally in areas with unique energy or magnetic properties. Overall, having gone through so many things in today's video, we have discovered a lot about the Nazca Lines, and we would love to hear what you think now about the Nazca Lines. So, drop a comment below and we would love to hear what you think. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and make sure that you subscribe for more videos just like this one, and you do not want to miss out.